Hello, my name is Roy Hadley, and I am the chair of the Information Security Society for the Technology Association of Georgia. I am also an attorney here at the law firm of Adams and Reese, and I practice in the privacy, cybersecurity, and data management areas. Today, we have a very special cyber short. It's the back to school edition. All across the country, schools, large and small, universities, K through 12, are all going back to school in one form or another, whether it is live, face to face, whether it is online, or whether it is a hybrid of the two. Schools are going back. And when they go back, they present just some very basic and sometimes complex cybersecurity and privacy issues. Today, on the back to school edition of Privacy or Cyber Shorts, we have a very special guest, partner in my firm, Adam Griffin, who practices and specializes in educational institutions with respect to cybersecurity, privacy, and otherwise. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Glad to have you. So, you've been practicing in the privacy, cybersecurity area in the K through 12 and for other educational institutions for a long time. Just very quickly, how did you get there? How did this come about? Because it's such a specialized area.
Well, I actually worked in IT in K-12. I started in high school and worked through college and did that for a while. And then for whatever reason, decided to go to law school and went to law school and came out. And over time, my prior job and my new job practicing law kind of merged and combined each other. And so now I have the opportunity to work with our K-12 clients on issues involving data privacy and security, and I really enjoy it a lot. It's one of my favorite parts about my practice.
All right, so you say you enjoy it. Before we get into the meat of cybersecurity and all of that, if you weren't doing what you do, if you weren't a lawyer, if you weren't practicing K through 12, it's always fun to find out more about people and what in a perfect world they would be. If I weren't a lawyer, if I wasn't doing what I did do in the privacy cybersecurity, I'd be a gardener. My goal when I retire is to get a plot of land and grow tomatoes somewhere. So that's Roy. What about Adam?
If I had any other job or could do whatever I wanted, I think I would probably install home theaters for a living, and TVs. And I actually used to do that in the summers at night because it's too hot to be in attics in Mississippi during the day in the summer. But I really enjoyed that work, and I would either do that or I'd probably be back working in IT, maybe be a COBOL programmer. I like COBOL a lot. I used to teach COBOL programming. So something in IT, something technology related, most likely.
Wow. So you've coded, you've programmed before, huh?
That's right. And I did it for a little while. I had enough of that and went to law school, but it's always in the back of my mind. Maybe I could go back to that. But for now, this is great.
Okay. So just kind of showing how old I am compared to you. I programmed in college, and back then we had punch cards, which you may not even know where they are, but we had to sit at a little computer thing or a little keyboard, and you punched cards and ran the deck for your programming. So times have changed, I would say, for the better.
Definitely.
Yeah. So pivoting back to schools and the challenges that they face, what are some of the top challenges that schools are facing as they kind of roll back into the school year, whether in a hybrid model or an online model from a security and a privacy standpoint?
To me, the number one issue is the unknown, because nobody knows what's going to happen day to day. And people are taking different approaches. Nobody knows what's best. It's just the unknown. The numbers vary day to day, and the situation is very fluid. So, some of our clients are already back in school. Some have said we're going virtual. Some have already started that. Some are doing the hybrid model. But no matter what you do, there's a chance that may change anytime. I mean, people that are in person may have to go virtual. People that are virtual may be able to come back in person. So the unknown is a real challenge for our clients right now.
Right. And even with the unknown around, what the school year will look like. I know some schools are going back, like you said, face to face, but with the realization that something may happen and they may have to go virtual. I know there are some other things that schools always have to worry about. I know FERPA comes to mind and some other privacy and compliance things. What are some of those things that schools have to be concerned about, educational institutions?
You know, schools, public schools are governed, or any school that receives money from the Federal Department of Education has FERPA requirements, and that's an issue related to the privacy of student data. Everybody has to be concerned, though, about the privacy of student data. You know, just because you're not FERPA subject doesn't mean that you don't have to be mindful of the privacy of student data. And, you know, schools and school districts all have the same issues as a lot of our business clients. They're worried about ransomware and data breaches and business email compromise and all these other things that everyone else is subjected to. So, you know, a lot of them are major employers and have a number of users and have a number of cybersecurity risks that they have to worry about just like everybody else.
Right. And for the uninitiated that may be listening to us today, FERPA is
the Family Educational Rights Privacy Act, and it governs what we can and can't do with education records if you receive money from the federal government. And it's not a very specific law in many areas. It talks about maintaining the confidentiality of things. It doesn't prescribe specific methods, but it's been interpreted and people have different opinions on how to apply it. So in some respects, that's good. And some it can be a challenge, but you know, for everybody, you should be concerned about the privacy of student data, whether you're FERPA subject or not.
okay. Now that brings up a very good point. And when you say the privacy of student data, you know, as a parent having kids, you know, that are going back to school, you know, they were face to face, now they are on, you know, different platforms, you know, for this online education. As a parent, what are some of the things that I should be concerned about? And, you know, as my kids kind of roll back into this virtual world?
You know, I think you want to be mindful and know what the school is doing. We've advised a lot of our clients to either obtain an informed consent or to at least send a disclosure out to the parents to say, this is what we're doing. We're using these platforms. This is the data we're collecting. So be mindful of what platforms they're using. I would ask all of the parents, for anybody that's learning remotely, and one of the most important things they can do is provide their child with a safe, quiet, and somewhat isolated learning environment where they can, you know, apart from the hustle and bustle of the house, if they can have a quiet place to learn off to the side, I think that's really helpful, you know, for the students in their house, and also for the other students that may be connected remotely, also listening. You don't want to hear somebody banging pots and pans in somebody else's house while you're trying to learn online. So, that's a challenge for some, but to the extent that that's possible, I think it's really helpful.
And I think you're right. I know with here in the business world, you know, way back when, if somebody was on a video call and the dog was barking in the background, it was catastrophic, and everybody was like, oh my goodness. Now it's just, you know, par for the course. But to your point, I think for a kid trying to learn that quiet environment is going to be key for them learning. Absolutely. So let me ask you this: when you talk about informed consents, you know, what is that basically?
So when we talk about an informed consent, we're talking about informed, meaning we are informing or telling you what we're doing, and then consent, you are agreeing to that. So I think openness and disclosure is important, and I advise our clients of that. I think if you tell the parents and the students, we're using these platforms, we are recording, we're not recording, we're collecting names and other information. If you tell them what you're doing and then get them to sign to say, yes, I agree, and that's all good with me, I think that you cut out a lot of issues on the back end. Telling people what you're doing with their data, I think, is just a good principle to follow in general. People don't like surprises.
Right. Now, you know, when you say telling people what to do, what you're doing with their data, I know some parents are always concerned about apps and, you know, what their kids are doing on the phones and the computers, you know, kind of venturing off here just a little bit. You know, are there some things parents ought to be thinking about with their kids and their phones and apps and those sorts of things?
The world has changed dramatically since I was in middle school, high school. We didn't have cell phones, and now everybody has smartphones. And we talk to people who first graders are getting iPhones, and it blows my mind. And the challenges that present to parents and to schools are immense. So, I'm of the mind that there are always technological solutions to things. You can filter the internet, and you can try to put these security measures in place. But when it comes to your kids, the best thing you can do is talk to them about these things. And the best thing you can do is use the people aspect of it and teach your kids what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. Because you may try to put a filter on, kids are smart. They figure out a way to get around everything. They're very smart, and they're very adept at adapting to that. So I think teaching them good principles is the best approach.
Right. And it's funny, I've got teenagers and also 20 somethings. And the one thing I will say is that they are very good at information sharing, in terms of how to get around stuff, friends, whoo, it goes like wildfire in terms
That's right.
of how to get around stuff. So in your free time, I'm going to shift gears here a little bit and learn a little bit more about Adam. In your free time, what do you enjoy doing other than work? Can't
Free
say
time.
what.
And I don't enjoy work in my free time. Free time in normal times, I would go to college football games. I'm not sure we're gonna be able to do that. I really enjoy college baseball. I have two young sons and another baby on the way. So right now, my free time is spent parenting. So, but try to spend time outside and spend time outside with my kids. That's most of my free time.
I know that feeling. You sound like me. I was on the softball field this weekend, with my daughters in the Georgia heat and humidity, let's just say. Well, Adam, I've enjoyed spending some time with you in this cyber short. We try to keep these short yet informative, both on a personal and a professional level. So thank you for joining us. One last question I always like to ask, no right or wrong answer, Coke or Pepsi?
Coca-Cola. Gotta stand with Atlanta on that one. Coca-Cola for sure.
There you go. Adam Griffin, enjoyed it. It has been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit. Pleasure to share your wisdom and information with respect to education and cybersecurity and privacy. So until next time, take care.
Thank you.